I think the smart money is on Bitcoin. Certainly fiat money is going to lose. I think gold is also in the process of being demonetized by Bitcoin. I think from 20 to 24 was the era of Michael Saylor. He defined that epoch of Bitcoin with his big buys of Bitcoin. And now we're entering into a new era, the Larry Finks of the world. And I'm looking over there at the Mid-East at Saudi Aramco. It's a huge company with a lot of cash. I think they should get into Bitcoin. I think these are going to be the new mega players in the sovereign states and the sovereign wealth funds who are going to start buying big into Bitcoin. So it's this new era that we're entering into. Well, we have the collapse of fiat money. I know the fiat money experiment, which is about 300 years old, and then it got very aggressive in the early 1970s in the US when they went off the gold standard. We went on a pure fiat money world. So the results of this are predictably catastrophic, right? The total debt for global debt is just skyrocketing to new highs. The US debt keeps going up. And so we're going to head into the big reset at some point. And in one corner will be fiat money. In another corner, which includes CBDC, central bank digital currency, that's another fiat money. Another corner will be gold. And then in the other corner will be Bitcoin. So it'll be a showdown between these three forms of money to see who wins. And I think the smart money is on Bitcoin. Certainly fiat money is going to lose. I think gold is also in the process of being demonetized by Bitcoin. Gold is very sluggish in its price action because of Bitcoin. It's being demonetized by Bitcoin the same way gold demonetized silver. Gold is being demonetized by Bitcoin. So it's never really going to catch up at this point, and it'll go to effectively to zero against Bitcoin. I mean, there'll still be a price for it, but it'll be effectively zero.
I think until we get to the final Bitcoin is like 100 and something, 20 years or something out in the future. The same thing with these currencies. But I think, the important thing to look at is the closer one is to layer one money, and the three, it's hard to be layer one money. Everybody thinks just because there's like 2 million altcoins and there's hundreds, like dozens of international currencies, that it's easy, but it's not easy. That's why so many of them go rapidly to zero. We have gold, the US dollar, and Bitcoin, and those three, right? So El Salvador was already on the US dollar standard. Any country the closest to either US dollar standard or all of those oil-rich countries which sell their commodities, their oil for dollars, all commodity countries, they sell their commodities for dollars. So those are pretty much on a US dollar standard as well already because of the vast amounts of dollars they receive. So it's easier for them to therefore also introduce Bitcoin because they're not at risk of having no other fiat currency, the best fiat currency out there, right? So it could be the oil-rich countries. It could be Bhutan, by the way, as well. So oil that they sell or vast quantities of previously stranded energy, and Bhutan had a mass amount of stranded hydro. So now they're apparently mining. We don't know how much they're mining, but it looks pretty significant. So they're already pretty much, from what we've seen, on a Bitcoin standard already as well. It's hard to be first, and I think we have seen that. Michael Saylor was first. Also, you have to remember that Elon Musk was also involved and put that on his balance sheet, and still has it on the Tesla balance sheet from that same period, right after Michael Saylor. So to be fair, he has stuck with his Bitcoin position, most of it, at least on Tesla's balance sheet. And so those two were first. But El Salvador, for a nation state, I think President Bukele will go down in history as one of the greatest leaders ever in history. So I think you'll see that. And yes, when it's super, super safe and when pretty much the US gives the go ahead, then other countries will follow, because it is very difficult to stand up against the humiliation. Michael Saylor did, right? As you said, many people were mocking him as it kept on going down and down and down. The same thing happened with El Salvador. We were here, we've been working for President Bukele, and we know what it was like to withstand all of not only the media, but the international institutions who were expressed concern about El Salvador and things like that. So I think most people, that famous video of the leader goes out there and dances, and then it takes a while of being out there looking like a fool. And then the second one comes and dances with the first leader, and then a whole crowd comes. So I think there will be a second follower to El Salvador soon in the next 18 months, because this bull market usually drives that sort of adoption at the high level. So I think there's going to be another smaller country like El Salvador.
I say, Bitcoin's not for everybody. You have to constantly be working on yourself to be your moral, your ethical, your own. You have to work on yourself constantly to keep up with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is perfect money. If you don't put the work into keeping yourself cleansed, you will be destroyed by Bitcoin. That Bitcoin is kind of like the ark, in that not everyone's going to make it.